We often hear that a quarterback needs an entire offseason to build chemistry and learn a new offense. But what if I told you that waiting until mid-August, just before the preseason even really kicked off, could lead to one of a Hall of Famer's best seasons? Well, that's exactly what happened with Brett Favre. A Netflix documentary about his career reveals he signed with the Minnesota Vikings on August 18, 2009, mid-August. That's practically unheard of for a starting QB. Yet, at age 40, Favre went on to have arguably his best NFL season, posting a ridiculous 107.2 passer rating and nearly leading the Vikings to the Super Bowl. Now, why is this relevant? Because Aaron Rodgers, who turns 42 this year, just signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and while it's not mid-August, it's still pretty late in the offseason. Many are asking, can he truly be effective signing this late? Rodgers has, in many ways, followed Favre's career path for years. And guess what? Waiting actually worked out pretty darn well for Favre in Minnesota. Favre's 2009 offseason was wild. He declared retirement, then it seemed like a plan to join the Vikings. He finally signed in mid-August, well after training camp had started. So if you're worried about Rodgers not being signed in late May, maybe take a deep breath. Favre stepped into a familiar West Coast offense, which helped, but his assimilation wasn't a big concern. And it certainly wasn't an issue on the field. What can we expect from Rodgers? Look, Favre was an outlier, but then again, so is Rodgers. These two are forever linked. Their careers mirroring each other, multiple MVPs, one Super Bowl title, a short stint with the Jets, and now a third team right before retirement. The parallels are almost eerie. Coaches are obsessive about practice reps, and for good reason. But sometimes, it can be overstated. Favre was absolutely fine in 2009. Remember 2020, when offenses executed very well despite an almost entirely lost offseason due to COVID-19. And just 2 seasons ago, Joe Flacco was signed by the Cleveland Browns in November and helped lead them to the playoffs. Smart, veteran quarterbacks, especially ones with the pedigree of a Favre or a Rodgers, usually figure things out. Rodgers will now be with the Steelers through the rest of the spring and the start of training camp. The anxious reports about his readiness can finally stop. Aaron Rodgers is officially a Steeler, and if history is any guide, it still might end up just fine. It certainly did for Rodgers' former Packers teammate.